Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is another DVD collection video addendum. And this is the Halloween edition, because we're going to go over some of the horror movies that I purchased over the past few months. All of these are Japanese and South Korean titles. Now, I did purchase two additional titles from Hong Kong. They're actually in the same franchise, but they're still in the mail, so I won't be able to review them tonight or show them to you tonight. But I'm sure I'll include them in a future update video. And I actually have a bunch of DVDs that I bought over the course of the year that I still have to get into these DVD collection videos. So I'm going to do a handful of these videos in November and December, kind of to ramp up for the holiday buying season, to give you some ideas. So let's get into some horror movies here, some DVDs to add to my collection. Now this one, it's pretty solid. That is I Am a Hero. Now this is a Japanese zombie film from 2015. And it's basically, typical zombie outbreak flick. You got a manga assistant as our lead character here. And he's kind of outmatched, but he does have his trusty shotgun that he can use. Monster designs and the zombies in this movie are solid. They're pretty scary looking. They're kind of a mix, I think, of of running zombies and slow-moving zombies, which I kind of liked. They're nasty looking. They have off-center eyeballs, which is kind of an interesting choice for the zombie design. Irrational speech is also evident here, and awkward body movements. One problem I have with this film is that sometimes the protagonists take a little too long to react when the zombies are chasing them. That's just kind of a minor gripe. There's a good amount of bloody violence in this. Yeah, this is just pretty solid stuff. It seems like a generic movie, but it does have its quirks. It has some nuances that you haven't really seen in zombie films. So I kind of like that. Some people actually enjoy this movie more than Train to Busan. Some of the, not a lot of people have seen this, but a decent amount have. And some people actually prefer this to the South Korean zombie flick Train to Busan. I think if I were forced to choose, I would probably choose Train to Busan over this, just because that film was just so fast-paced from start to finish. This one is briskly paced, but there are some slow patches along the way. The ending to this is really cool, too. This is definitely one to seek out. I'm going to go into more detail on this when I review it in my Asian horror playlist when we get to 2015 in that playlist, but if you want a good zombie flick to add to your Asian zombie collection, this is a very good choice. Very good choice. I really want to rewatch this one, so I'm going to do that. Another recent Japanese film that you should probably consider adding to your collection if you're a big fan is the Inerasable. Alright, the Inerasable. Now that I Am a Hero DVD was the Region 3 DVD with subtitles, so this is another Region 3 DVD with subtitles. So the Inerasable is kind of like a traditional kind of Japanese horror film. Traditional as in, the typical supernatural stuff that you would get over the past few decades. This is about a mystery novelist who receives a phone call from a university student who's hearing strange noises in her apartment. So they start to investigate the history of the apartment and what's going on there. Now, it does sound like a generic premise, but I don't know, there's something about this that felt a little nuanced again. This reminded me a little bit of, oh, come on, what's that Taiwanese horror film? Now I gotta look it up. Son of a gun. Hold on here, hold on. The Taiwanese horror film. What was it called? What was it? The Tag Along. That's what this reminded me a little bit. In terms of like the ominous mood that it creates. So if you like the Tag Along, this is another good one. The ghosts in this are kind of like, they reminded me of some of the ghosts from Pulse in terms of like the kind of unconventional design of the ghosts. They're more kind of like shadowy than anything else, which I liked. You got Yuko Takuchi and Ai Hashimoto as the two lead actresses in this. They're both, I'm a fan of both, let's put it that way, and they're both very good in this. And this, I'd say this really does succeed in terms of creating kind of a story that's an interesting mystery in terms of figuring out what happened at this place, and it's got some good creepy moments in it too, man. Some good stuff. So I definitely recommend the Inerasable if you want to add to your collection this holiday season. Now, one that I got actually quite a while ago that I had to wait to watch until October because I can't watch this movie in any other month. Halloween Nightmare. Yes, Halloween Nightmare. This is Japanese, and this is the Region 2 DVD without subtitles, but I think I saw it on Yes Asia or Amazon. I can't pass up this title. And look, you got this dude up here. He's got like a pumpkin head and an axe. Man, there's so much glare. Pumpkin head and an axe up there. There's no way I could pass this up. But the problem is I did buy a movie, as I showed in my Legacy DVD collection, Easter Nightmare, which I'm not sure if it was made by the same people, but Easter Nightmare was terrible. So I was a little worried about Halloween Nightmare, and I just watched it a few weeks ago. I thought it was decent. The death scenes really weren't that great, but it does have some good moments in it, and the runtime isn't very long. And I remember this dude, he appears in almost like a supernatural smoke that just comes out of nowhere, which I thought was kind of cool for him to teleport to places. And there's some pretty good chase scenes in it. It's not a great movie or anything. It's pretty low grade, but I thought it was good enough for a watch. I was satisfied with Halloween Nightmare. I was satisfied with it, even without subtitles. But it's pretty expensive too. I went a little overboard. But there's also Halloween Nightmare Part 2. Now, man, if the first one was good, the second one's got to be better, because you know how sequels are. They take the first one, they just ramp it up, and they just go over the top with everything, right? You get the Halloween dude coming back. And there he is up there. This one, it was pretty terrible. It was terrible. I was surprised, because I think it was from, I want to say it was from the same director. I don't remember. Maybe it's not. I forget. But, all you got to do is repeat the formula. Have the dude in the pumpkin head come back and chase Japanese schoolgirls down alleyways. I mean, that's all I want to see. And the pumpkin dude shows up for like 1 minute in this movie. Like, this was just like a cash grab. I can only assume that the first one did good direct-to-DVD sales, and it had a decent reputation, and they just churned out a second one. It was just, there's like scenes in this where the girls are like dancing. It's pretty bad, dude. Really too bad, too. I was expecting this to be better than the first one, but yeah. So I wouldn't worry too much about getting those, but I'm kind of happy I have it in my collection. But I had to, Halloween Nightmare, man. I had to buy it. All right, the next one here. Okay, we're getting back to Hisayasu Sato here. Now you got Hana-Dama, The Origins. Now, very, very obscure film from 2014. This is a 2014 movie, and this is a pretty interesting flick. Now, the director, Hisayasu Sato, I have not covered too much. I covered him on my Asian horror playlist a handful of times. He's most notable for his gore fest Naked Blood from 1995. Now, if you like violence in your horror films and you have not seen Naked Blood from 1995, you gotta get on it. You gotta get on Naked Blood, man. That movie's, it's low budget, but it is memorable. It is memorable and weird. And this is similar. Now, it's not nearly as gory as Naked Blood. It's about a girl. It's actually about 3 students, 2 girls and a guy in high school who get relentlessly bullied by the students, and the teachers are all kind of in on this bullying thing. This movie's very odd. Very odd film. I'm not even going to tell you what happens at the end. Actually, it foreshadows it at the beginning of the movie. Like, right from the first 10 seconds of this movie, you're going to be scratching your head like, this is going to be weird. But, I mean, it moves linearly. It's not confusing or anything. You know, there's a lot of uncomfortable moments in the bullying, and some scenes are pretty... It gets kind of grimy. It gets pretty intense. You know, it's not excessive, but it's intense, and that kind of makes it good because you want to see these bullies get taken down. And, yeah, stuff happens. Very odd finale. It just kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's good. I liked it. You know, it's nice to see that Hisayasu Sato still can make a movie like this that's legitimately interesting this late in his career. There's a sequel to this, Hana-Dama Phantom, that I saw. It was streaming on, like, Cineflix, I think. And that movie has a finale that's just totally just reprehensible and exploitative. Like, it's totally just wrong. It's wrong. But it's a good flick. So if you're into, like, kind of weird exploitation style films that have some good drama in them with some goofy humor, black humor in them, and some graphic violence in them, you know, this is a pretty interesting recent release that, you know, just goes to show that Japan just kind of, they always have something interesting going on in their horror films, man. Not a lot of, you know, there's a lot of people that are not going to like these, though, these Hana-Dama films. But I'm hoping Sato does a third one. I haven't heard anything announced for a third one, but I would like to see him do a third one and see where he goes with it. Yeah. But this is available in the United States. This is the U.S. release for the first one. Second one isn't available right now on DVD, I don't think. In the U.S., certainly not. I'll do a review of that when we get to 14? And then Hana-Dama Phantom's a 2016 film. Now, one that I had to fill into my collection, because I had part 2 in my DVD Legacy collection, was Nightmare Detective. So I already had Nightmare Detective 2 from Shinya Tsukamoto, which is one of the best Japanese horror films of the last 10 years. The sequel to this is just phenomenal. This one, the original, is also very good. I do prefer the sequel, but the original is cool. You got a detective. You actually have a nightmare detective, as it says, and he's the good guy, Ryohei Matsuda. And he tries to stop a villain, played by Shinya Tsukamoto himself, who invades people's dreams and kills them. You know, it's kind of almost like, you know, a Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's very Tsukamoto, so it's still very different. You know, it's actually a bit more commercial for Tsukamoto. This is one of Tsukamoto's more commercial films, and but it does get weird as it moves along. So it does have that interesting aspect to it. Nice atmosphere, some cool stuff in this. Check out my review in my Asian horror playlist from 2006. I believe I reviewed this. Now the DVD. Oh, I forgot to do, hold on a second. Special features for this one, a making of and a trailer is all that you get. What were the special features for Hana-Dama? Backstage and behind the scenes, an interview with the director and the cast. I've got to check that out. It'd be interesting to see what Sato says. But, yeah, two very interesting directors. Sato and Tsukamoto, give me a break. And last but not least, we have 3 from South Korea. And they are the 3 films that I've reviewed this month. The Horror Stories Anthology Trilogy. So this one is the American release of Horror Stories. These are the anthologies. I did show in my Legacy collection, I had the slipcase of it. But when I tried to rewatch it for my review a few weeks ago, it started skipping on me, the DVD. So it must have gotten scratched or something, so I had to chuck it and get the, I just got the U.S. release. So, you know, this one's got, what do we got here? Cast interviews, a collectible booklet, and some trailers. Not too bad. Now, my favorite segments in this one are the first segment, is probably my favorite, and segments 3 and 4 are also, I mean, they're all good though in this. This is an anthology where every segment is good. So, and you got a nice little variety to it. Check out my full-length review. I did a full-length review of this a few weeks ago on my channel. As you see from the front cover, the directors, one thing I didn't mention in my review, this is from the directors of Memento Mori, Whispering Quarters 2, Memento Mori, White, Bloody Reunion, Epitaph, and The Naked Kitchen. So you got some real talented directors in this, which is probably why it turned out so well. So, yeah, it's pretty, very good, fun horror anthology for you, if you want one. Widely available. The next one, which is not so widely available, is Horror Stories 2. Now, this one I looked for, I don't know, 6 months, on and off. Just disappeared off the face of the planet. Yes, Asia had a 2-disc special edition with the Korean release of Horror Stories 1 and 2 together in a box set. And I just waited too long to buy it. I waited a few months and it just went out of print, nowhere to be found. And I was like, man, this thing just disappeared. And then it just popped up again a few weeks ago on eBay. And yeah, they're legit Region 3 Korean releases with good subtitles and everything. This anthology I think is a step down from the first Horror Stories anthology. Again, I did a full-length review of this last week. So check that out for all the non-spoiler details. But I did enjoy this. The wraparound segment I thought was really interesting and funny, and then you got the final segment, which is really wacky and just over the top. But I thought it was really funny and very entertaining. So Horror Stories 2 is good. I'm glad I have it in my collection, especially considering how rare it is to find. And then finally, we have Horror Stories 3, which I just covered this week on my channel. Probably my favorite of the trilogy, believe it or not. Now, don't worry. What do you think of when you look at this cover? You're thinking they're a bunch of ghost boys that meow like a cat, aren't you? That's what you're thinking. They're not. They're androids. So there's not this many androids in one of the segments. There's really only one. But it's, it's for effect, for the cover. Yeah, very cool anthology. This is the one where, again, I did a full-length review a few days ago. Check that out. But this has some science fiction elements to it. Huge variety of locations and time periods. And every segment in this is good. Just like the first Horror Stories anthology. So you get no weaknesses, really, I think. A lot of fun. And I will rewatch this one quite a bit in the future, I could see. Some cool visuals in this, too. This is the Region 3, again, Korean release with subtitles. So that's it with the Horror Update collection. Yes, for Halloween. I had to get some purchases in. And, yeah, so definitely look forward to more of these DVD collection videos. Over the next few months, I'll probably end up doing, I don't know, maybe five of them or something like that in November and December. So, yes, as always, I will see you next time.